Unlock the manual battery latch. Slide and hold the spring-loaded battery latch into the unlocked position. Slide the battery pack out of the bay. Push the card in to unlatch and release it. Pull the card out of the slot. Remove the single retaining screw. Slide the cover toward the front and remove it. Remove the 3 retaining screws. Pull the tab to disconnect, then lift to remove the hard disk drive from its bay. Remove 4 screws from the hard disk drive bracket. Remove the bracket from the hard disk drive. Remove the single retaining screw. Insert a screwdriver into the screw hole and push to loosen the optical drive from its bay. Press the latches outward on either side of the DIMM to release it. Gently pull the DIMM to remove it. Disconnect the 2 antenna cables. Remove the single retaining screw. Gently pull the wireless mini card to remove it. Remove the 3 retaining screws on the bottom of the system as indicated. Turn the system over and open the cover. Gently pry the keyboard up by starting toward the rear and working along the edges. Turn the keyboard over and rest it gently on the palm rest. Pull on the black tabs to disconnect the keyboard cable from the system board. Remove the keyboard. Remove 10 retaining screws from the bottom of the chassis. Remove 2 screws from the empty battery bay and 3 from the empty optical disc bay. Turn the system over and open the cover. Remove the 3 retaining screws. Disconnect the 3 FCP cables from the touchpad, power board, and indicator board. Unplug the microphone cable. Carefully unsnap the keyboard bezel along the edges and remove it. Disconnect the I/O board cable from the system board. Remove the single retaining screw. Carefully lift the cable from its restraints. Lift and remove the I/O board from the chassis. Disconnect the LCD connector. The speaker connector. And the CCD connector. Remove the 2 retaining screws securing the optical drive connector. Remove the single screw securing the fan assembly. Remove the 3 system board retaining screws. Carefully lift the system board up and disconnect the power and USB connectors. Remove the system board from the chassis. Detach the fan cable from the system board. Loosen the 6 screws in order. Carefully lift up the fan assembly and heatsink assembly to remove it. Rotate the locking screw counterclockwise 180 degrees to the unlocked position. Gently lift the CPU straight out of its socket. Remove 2 screws from the left speaker. Remove 2 screws from the right speaker. As you lift the speakers, carefully release the cables from their cable guides. Release the antenna cables from the cable guides on the bottom of the notebook. Turn the system over. Carefully release the cables from their cable guides. Remove 3 retaining screws from the left hinge. Remove 2 retaining screws from the right hinge. Remove the cables from the cable guides. Carefully lift the LCD unit from the chassis. Using a plastic tool and your fingers, carefully unsnap the LCD bezel from the cover and remove it. Remove the integrated camera from the adhesive backing. Disconnect the cable. Remove the camera. Remove the cables from the cable guides. Remove the 8 screws. Lift the LCD panel from the back cover. Peel back the adhesive tape and detach the LCD cable from the connector. Remove the 2 screws from the left hinge assembly. Remove the left hinge assembly. Repeat the process for the right hinge assembly. Remove the right hinge assembly.